One of the interesting things that came out of the Valentine's Day lunch or whatever that Kody had with Robin was their discussion about his trip to Utah and the conversation that he had with Aspyn, that he described as a conversation and Robin described as a confrontation. So did seem like she's pushing a little bit in there. He describes it as being a good trip. The way he described it did not sound like a good trip and did not make him sound good at all. In fact, it made him sound awful. First of all, he goes, I went up there to see a couple of the girls and many of my kids were up there. He didn't even know where his kids were. He didn't even ask a question as to where they were all living because he seemed very confused that some of his kids were in Utah. Additionally, Aspyn's been really careful on the show to not express her opinion publicly, but Kody's happy to just throw her underneath the bus, to just throw her opinion out there, and say, that she feels unloved by him. I am not surprised because what he has said on TV about his children has been pretty awful. And many other people have all pointed out that he's like, my kids are a-holes, my kids are jerks, they don't fit in. He called out several of them by name as not fitting in, which is just like, oh my gosh, I would be super upset if someone spoke that way about my siblings, let alone my father on international TV in the most public of ways. And she has held her tongue and had a private conversation with her father, and her father had no problem making it public. And it's odd to me because it doesn't make him sound good. Why in the world does his child feel that he hates her? And he doesn't even really apologize. He kind of does this whole like, they were trash talking me, I was trash talking them. My summary of what he said to her was, I'm mad at your mom and I took it out on you. And he doesn't seem to really apologize for that. He doesn't really seem to make like that was wrong so much as like, it's very understandable that, this is all Christine's fault. That joke about like, thanks a lot, Christine, about everything. Robin jumping in to say that it wasn't a conversation, it was a confrontation. I know a lot of people have been mad about that. I heard someone say that's a confrontation, but that's good. And I can't figure out who it was. I think that was partially just playing to the camera. Oh, look what a good father Kody is. Look at how great he is. But after hearing his conversation, it didn't sound, I didn't hear it and go, oh, wow, they really made strides. It sounded like his children had to come to him to say that they were deeply hurt by things that he was saying, I assume on TV. Maybe this is more about something that we didn't see on TV, but then he brought it back on TV. He could have come back and said things like, I talked with, Aspyn especially, and I apologized for some of my behavior, and I assured her that I loved her. Maybe that's what I would say if I was trying to do good PR. But for him to be like, she was like, why do you hate me? I don't know. It just did not come across good to me. This whole scene where he was talking about that thing did not sound like a great trip. It sounded like this bumbling fool who went up there. His kids had to manage all of his emotions and manage trying to fix their relationship. And then he sort of left and was like, yeah, it's super good. Let me go home and only pay attention to one set of children and not change my behavior barely at all. Not great.